Trump tries to tamp down the revolt inside MAGA world over his Justice Department's refusal to release the Epstein files. Trump taking to Truth Social saying, "We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein." Trump blaming Democrats for the Epstein files. He said the Epstein files were written by people who hate him, people like Obama, Clinton, former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI Director James Comey, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. They wrote the Epstein files. He said they created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends, those would be the MAGA morons, are playing right into their hands, said the turd president. He goes, why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files when they had a chance, like when Biden was president? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? Actually, that's a pretty good point. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino reportedly didn't show up to work on Friday and is reportedly prepared to quit as his own MAGA followers accuse him of being a sellout, a turncoat. FBI Director Kash Patel, who, before coming to Washington, sold pills online promising to expunge the COVID vaccine from your system, Kash Patel has reportedly threatened to quit as well. But late Saturday, Kash Patel says he's staying put and there are no truth to any rumors that he's leaving. But Deputy FBI Director and former Fox News intellectual Dan Bongino has done nothing to quell reports that he's quitting. I'll have more on all this in a second and an update on FEMA's rancid response to the flash flooding in Texas. This is the Mop Up. I'm David Feldman in New York City. Thank you so much for finding me. Please hit the like button so I remain in your feed, and leave a comment. If I make any mistakes, leave a comment. I read all your comments. Here's the latest on the turmoil inside America's Justice Department. As the FBI BD Director Dan Bongino is reportedly threatening to quit over Attorney General Pam Bondi's decision to deep six the Jeffrey Epstein files, despite her promise back in February that she had the sex trafficker's client list sitting on her desk, and she promised to release it soon. Bongino reportedly did not show up to work on Friday. This after tempers flared during a White House meeting, a meeting on the Epstein files involving Bondi, Patel, Bongino, and Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles. Some of the leaks coming out from that meeting are telling us that Bongino went absolutely ballistic on Pam Bondi and threatened he would not only leave the White House, not only leave the FBI, but use his massive social media following and his podcasts to destroy her. Trump appointed Bongino, a former Secret Service agent turned Fox News intellectual, because of Bongino's deep ties to MAGA world conspiracy theorists. At first, when the Trump White House began to suppress the Epstein files, this was in May, Bongino went along with it, saying, hey, folks, it was suicide. Get over it. Epstein committed suicide. It's time for everyone to move on. But Bongino is anticipating life after the FBI, and he quickly learned, after saying Epstein committed suicide, quickly learned that his base turned on him, accusing Bongino of participating in a massive cover-up for an international child trafficking ring. When last week's Justice Department memo announcing the Epstein case is now closed, when that got leaked, that memo got leaked by Axios, Bongino reportedly saw that his QAnon beast from which he profited was devouring him. Bongino, before becoming deputy FBI director, repeatedly said Epstein's death was not suicide. Bongino promised his audience that the files would be released, all of them, once he got into the FBI. Bongino assured his followers that once the Epstein files were released, these files would destroy the Democratic Party once and for all. Also attending that high-level White House meeting on the Epstein files was our FBI director, Kash Patel, who the PBS NewsHour reported, quote, stoked these conspiracy theories for political gain and profit for years, unquote. He was all in on the Epstein conspiracy theories. Patel, according to the Washington Post, before taking over the FBI, Patel accused that agency, the one he currently runs, of protecting the world's worst pedophile. And he appeared on podcasts saying, quote, put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. He urged the Biden White House to release Epstein's client list of those wealthy politicians and businessmen to whom Epstein provided underage girls and then use that information to blackmail them. Bongino and Patel were nominated to run the FBI specifically because they're outsiders who would purify the agency of its connections to the deep, dark state. Remember, Trump feeds off America's healthy mistrust of the police, but only when it benefits him. Trump, you see, he likes local police because they protect property and beat up people of color. But Trump doesn't like the FBI because the FBI prosecutes white-collar criminals like Donald Trump. Back in 2017, Trump fired FBI Director James Comey because Comey wouldn't drop Russiagate. As we speak, Trump's current CIA Director John Ratcliffe, a quisling, now pushing the narrative that Russiagate was completely manufactured by the deep, dark state to take down a political outsider like Donald Trump because they perceived him as a threat to America's deeply entrenched, George Soros-backed establishment. Ratcliffe last week made a criminal referral to the FBI to investigate James Comey, the former head of the FBI. Ratcliffe, Trump's flunky, head of the CIA, accusing Comey of lying before Congress about Putin's involvement in the 2016 presidential election. Well, in that case, he should also make a criminal referral against Robert Mueller, Comey's predecessor at the FBI, who wrote in the Mueller report that the Russians not only interfered in the 2016 election to get Trump elected, Trump interfered with the FBI's investigation into that interference. And according to the Mueller report, it would be quite simple to prosecute Trump for obstruction of justice. The New York Times just broke the story that our Secret Service began tailing James Comey in unmarked cars after the Secret Service opened up an investigation into an Instagram post by Comey made back in May that read, quote, 8647. 8647. According to the MAGA morons out there, James Comey was signaling for people to hurt our president, Trump being the 47th president of the United States. 86, as I understood it, means you get tossed out of a bar. You get 86th, but somewhere it also means something a lot worse. So the right wing immediately made 8647 sound like former FBI Director James Comey was calling for someone to hurt Donald Trump. Comey had to do several interviews with the Secret Service to prove he's not a threat. Meanwhile, our Secret Service, understaffed, was tailing him. They began tailing him. That's your tax dollars hard at work under the Trump administration.